The courtroom was cold, ice cold, not only from the air conditioning, but from the weight of history bearing down on each wooden bench, each hushed breath, each glance thrown across the aisle. The walls, whose dull gray paneling filled the space from floor to ceiling, seemed to press inward, as if the room itself were attempting to hear. Under the buzzing lights, Robyn Brown sat on the stand, her shaking hands folded in her lap, fingers folding a twisted tissue drenched with tears. Her heart throbbed loudly in her ears, more loudly than the shuffle of the bailiff's footsteps, more loudly than the clack of the judge's gavel minutes before, more loudly than the whispers that had been circulating like wildfire since doors opened. She felt each and every eye on her, but only one pair of eyes. Meri Brown. Sitting with her arms folded tightly across her body, Meri's face was cold. Too pale, too tranquil. It was the face of a woman who had waited years for this day. The agony creased on her brow a long time ago had developed into something else. Determination. The judge's voice cut across the quiet. "Mrs. Brown, you're sworn to tell the truth. We require the truth today." Robyn's lips opened, but nothing emerged. Her tongue had turned heavy. The words couldn't rise. Cameras were prohibited inside, but everyone within that room was well aware that this moment would blow up on the internet. TMZ, Reddit, YouTube, the sister wives community had already made this courtroom a virtual war zone. No tweet, no TikTok summary, no fan theory could possibly encompass the heaviness of what was happening at the moment. This wasn't a disagreement. This wasn't another teary confession on the couch of a TLC reunion. This was war. And Robyn? She was no longer the beloved fourth wife, the woman Kody clung to while the others drifted away. No, today, she was the defendant. She reached for another tissue as her attorney leaned in to whisper, "Stay calm, answer clearly. We're still early in the proceedings." Robyn nodded feebly. But beneath, she was disintegrating. Flashbacks swirl as courtroom air thickens. She was just months ago snuggled up in her Flagstaff house, the largest of them all, the sister wives. Kody at her side, the other women out of the picture. She had won, or so the internet claimed. But here, beneath these fluorescent lights, that fantasy had shattered. The court papers had dropped like a bombshell. Meri Brown was suing Robyn for financial fraud and emotional distress. The charges were explosive, unauthorized use of shared business funds, deception, betrayal, and the worst of all, selfishness masquerading as spiritual sisterhood. It began with a common vision, a retreat center, a wellness brand. Meri wanted to build something on her own. She believed Robyn was assisting her. But what she was not aware of, what the court would eventually learn, was that those monies were being quietly diverted, incrementally into Robyn's own coffers. And now every smile Robyn had worn on screen was being distorted and scrutinized. The judge cleared his throat once more, shocking Robyn out of her reverie. "Mrs. Brown, do you comprehend the seriousness of the accusations against you?" She struggled at last to speak. Her voice was husky, just above a whisper. "Yes, Your Honor." "Then we'll get on with it. The prosecution can go on." Meri's side of the story, years of silence, broken in a single day. Meri's attorney rose, a thin man with sharp glasses and a voice that didn't need a microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, pacing before the jury box, "this case is not just about money. It's about manipulation. It's about trust shattered by greed. And it's about a woman who took advantage of the very people she called family." He turned slowly toward Robyn. "We will prove, without a shadow of a doubt, that Robyn Brown used Meri Brown's money, time, and emotional vulnerability, while all the while posing as her sister wife and friend." Robyn blinked hard, her eyes downcast. She shook her shoulders, her breathing uneven. She ached to yell that it wasn't true. That Kody had said it was all right. That this was all a miscommunication. But the courtroom wasn't interested in explanations. Today, the judge gestured toward Meri. She got up, steady on her heels, in a navy blue blazer that was all about confidence. She wasn't the same Meri fans remembered from the show. Broken-hearted, marginalized, abandoned. This Meri had fire in her eyes. "I gave Robyn $50,000 over 2 years," she stated clearly. It was supposed to go into our joint business. A women's retreat, something to help us reclaim our voices after years of silence. But that money disappeared. She paused, looking directly at Robyn. And Robyn told me, over and over, don't worry, I'm taking care of it. But she wasn't. The gallery was silent, stunned. Even when the cameras weren't rolling. And even when Kody wasn't standing up for me, Meri added, I trusted her. Robyn said she was on my side. But behind my back, she was constructing her own kingdom, with my funds. Robyn set her teeth. She wanted to shout, that's not what occurred. But the reality was, portions of it were. Secrets of Robyn began to reveal. When it was finally time for Robyn to speak, she felt as though she was being stripped bare in public. Your Honor, she started, wiping her face. Meri and I were close. I loved her as a sister. I thought we were doing this together. She spoke directly to the jury, her body shaking. Kody said it was all coming out of a collective pool. That Meri didn't know how to budget. That we needed to step up and lead this project if it was going to succeed. Her lawyer attempted to stop her. But the damage was done. Yet the room was filled with gasps again. The judge scrunched up his eyes. Are you telling me Mr. Kody Brown approved the transfer of money from Meri's personal fund into your own? Robyn nodded slowly. Yes, he said not to worry. Meri said not to worry. The courtroom was no longer cold. It was on fire. Each head in the room swiveled toward the empty row where Kody Brown would have been sitting. But the seat was empty. He hadn't appeared. The family cracks opened behind Robyn. Her own children sat in silence, witnessing their mother crumple under the burden of her choices. Across the aisle, Christine and Janelle whispered to each other, giving each other shocked glances. For once, the resentments between the wives did not count. Today, they were together, not against Robyn in particular, but against the whole lie they had all been a part of for so long. Robyn's voice cracked again. I was thinking I was safeguarding our future, she wept. But perhaps I was merely safeguarding mine. The judge adjourned for a moment, and the courtroom emptied in painful, stunned silence. But Robyn did not stir. She remained frozen in her seat, mascara smeared across her face, white-knuckled around the arms of the witness chair, as if it was the only thing keeping her upright. Beyond those courtroom doors, the world was waiting. Fans, critics, family, and the truth. It had only just been revealed. The doors of the courtroom creaked open when the judge emerged from recess, expression unreadable, gavel held aloft. The strain hadn't disappeared. If anything, it had doubled. The audience had hardly said a word during the break, whispers submerged by the weight of what had already transpired. Robyn Brown, on the witness stand, hadn't budged. Her face was pale with tear-stained cheeks. Her lips trembled. Meri Brown, opposite, was stiff and icy as a statue of marble, but her jaw clenched, and her eyes did not flicker. The judge spoke to the bailiff. Call the next witness. The courtroom buzzed as Meri rose from her seat, smoothed her jacket, and moved toward the witness stand. You felt as if the oxygen was sucked out of the room. Anyone, from court staff to members of the gallery, who were family members, leaned in. The lawyer moved forward. Miss Meri Brown, would you tell us the nature of your financial relationship with Robyn Brown? Meri sat down with precise quiet. She didn't fumble. She didn't weep. Her voice, when it appeared, was keen and firm, the voice of a woman finished being disregarded. We were meant to be partners. Sister wives, yes, but partners in business too. We had a dream. A retreat center for women. A sanctuary, something good from all we'd been through. I trusted her like blood. She hesitated, drawing air in, eyes darting to Robyn. 2 years. I gave Robyn more than $50,000. Wired it, paid it in cash, even let her use my business account. She'd always say it was temporary, that she'd pay me back, that she was facilitating things, but never did. No receipt, no progress report, just nothing. Robyn emitted a low, strangled sob. The lawyer picked up a thick stack of papers. Your Honor, Exhibit C. Financial transfers from Meri Brown's personal and business accounts to Robyn Sullivan Brown. $51,470.33 within 26 months. The judge nodded, scanning the documents as overhead projector glowed with hard, cold facts. March 22, 2022. $2,500 transfer. April 19, 2022. $3,700. Withdrawal in wellness planning. August 5, 2023. $6,000 transfer in consulting fee. Meri replied again, staring straight at the judge. There was no planning. There was no consulting. She wasn't constructing anything. She was fixing up her house. I learned later the wellness retreat was a cover story. She spent my money on hardwood floors and custom pieces. Robyn gasped, hands covering her mouth. The attorney moved forward. Did she ever explain to you how she spent the money? No, Meri replied quickly. She told me I was being negative for even asking, that I didn't trust her, that I was behaving like an outsider. I thought maybe I was the problem. She stopped again, but this time her voice shook. But I wasn't the problem. I was the victim. The jurors murmured in quiet. Some shook their heads. The betrayal felt so close to real, so raw. This wasn't about money. It was about betrayal, shrouded in love and faith. The attorney went on. Just to be clear, Miss Brown, were any of the payments that you made to Robyn included in a signed business agreement? Meri blinked. No, it was a matter of trust. I had texts, emails, but no contract. I believed family was something. The attorney addressed the judge. The prosecution now enters these messages as Exhibit T. Screenshots flashed on the courtroom screen. Robyn text. I'll keep you posted, sis. Everything's moving forward. Your investment is in good hands. Meri just checking in. It's been a few weeks. Anything I should know? Robyn, Meri, please don't get controlling. I'm working. Trust the process. The words hung in the air like knives. The crowd reacts, and the internet erupts. Though cameras were banned inside, word was leaking out in real time. Tweets, live streams from reporters outside, and updates from inside sources were hitting social media like waves in a storm. #Robyn on trial #sister. Wives scandal #justice. For Meri, one reporter tweeted. Robyn's crying in court, but Meri's not backing down. It's more explosive than any TLC episode. This is the real drama. Inside the courtroom, it was anything but entertainment for the women involved. Years of shared pain, sisterhood, and spiritual commitment were unraveling in public, piece by piece. Robyn tries to explain, and fails. Her lawyer rose to cross-examine Meri. His plan was evident: challenge the friendship, confuse the issue, raise doubt. Miss Brown, isn't it true that you and Robyn had some intense arguments over the past few years? Meri didn't flinch. Yes, because I began to ask questions. And didn't you claim she was having an emotional affair with Kody even before the others departed? Meri looked straight ahead. What does that matter to my money? The judge cocked an eyebrow, nodding in secret agreement. Robyn's attorney attempted to probe deeper. Isn't it possible then that this lawsuit stems from jealousy or resentment rather than monetary damages? Meri remained firm. If I sought revenge, I'd sue TLC. I'm here seeking justice. The courtroom rustled once more. Some applauded before being shut down by a resounding gavel slam. Robyn appeared ready to faint. Her lawyer sat down, deflated too. The judge addressed Robyn. Mrs. Brown, you may have an opportunity to speak at length, but presently you are cautioned to say nothing except in response to direct interrogation. Robyn nodded. She was a ghostly white, but worse was on its way. Surprise witness. Kody Brown. Subpoenaed as the judge was about to adjourn the session. The prosecution rose again. Your Honor, we'd like to submit a subpoena issued to Mr. Kody Brown, compelling him to appear and testify about shared family funds and alleged authorization of financial transfers to Robyn Brown. Robyn gasped audibly. What? The judge nodded. Subpoena accepted. Mr. Brown will be required to appear before the court within 48 hours. Gasps rippled through the room. Robyn leaned over to her lawyer, whispering frantically. He won't appear. He's not included in this. But she knew deep inside, if Kody did testify, the secrets would be revealed, not only about the money but about what he had done with her, for her, around her, or perhaps even to her. Meri observed it all, stoic and still. The tempest was only just starting to break. The judge rapped his gavel. Court is adjourned until 10 a.m. Thursday morning. This case is now entering testimony phase. Closing tension. The tables are turning as the courtroom cleared. Robyn sat slumped on the bench, quiet tears streaming down her face. No one came to comfort her. Not even Christine or Janelle. Not even Meri. She was left alone, the way the others had been left alone when she and Kody had excluded them. This time, the limelight wasn't on her side. This time, it was her punishment. The trial picked up the following day with a thicker air than before. Outside the courthouse, the din grew louder. Fans, past producers, even former TLC crew members congregated near the entrance. Reporters clustered with phones and notebooks, wondering if Kody Brown would respect his subpoena. Inside, the gallery was filled. But Robyn Brown wasn't focused on the crowd. She was gazing directly ahead, not moving. Her lips were parched. Her makeup was not as heavy today. Her eyes puffy from sobbing through the night. Her attorney sat beside her, speaking softly in her ear. But even he was aware today would be harsh. The judge came in, sat down, and brought the courtroom to life. Next witnesses, Christine Brown and Janelle Brown, come forward to the stand. And so two women who had been sister to Robyn made their way forward, side by side, no longer united in matrimony, but united in fact. Christine Brown, she weaponized her tears. Christine sat first. Her body was steady, but her face was tough. The same intensity people had witnessed when she finally exited Kody. The lawyer started. Miss Christine Brown, you were part of the family for how many years? More than 25 years. And throughout that time, how would you characterize your relationship with Robyn Brown? Christine didn't think twice. Diplomatic, but never truthful. The courtroom murmured. Elaborate. Christine leaned forward ever so slightly. Robyn entered the family playing sweet, humble, like she wanted peace. But peace to her was control. She didn't want balance. She wanted center stage. And Kody gave it to her. She turned, her eyes meeting Robyn's, who winced. I observed Robyn receiving everything she desired. The largest home, the highest income, exclusive shopping excursions. In the meantime, the rest of us were to support ourselves, emotionally and financially. The attorney nodded. Did Robyn ever consider you a partner in any business ventures? Christine snorted. Yes, she said she was too busy. But later I discovered that she'd been secretly working with Meri behind my back. She referred to it as a spiritual retreat. But I have the invoices. She wasn't constructing a retreat. She was constructing a kingdom. You talked about finances. Did you ever notice Robyn drawing more than her share of family money? Christine nodded. Yes. Kody would draw money from the joint fund and channel it into Robyn's bills. New appliances, private tutors, designer sofas. And when we objected, Robyn cried. Every time. She took a breath, her tone firm but rough. She used her tears as a weapon. It was her defense, her way of not being held accountable. And we allowed it to happen, because we believed she was delicate. But she was intelligent, too intelligent. Robyn slowly shook her head and murmured something to her lawyer. The judge arched a brow. Is there something you wish to say, Mrs. Brown? Robyn raised her eyes. Her voice broke. That's not true. I never took anything that wasn't for all of us. Kody, Mrs. Brown. The judge spoke over her. You will get your chance. Christine folded her hands and glanced again to the jury. We didn't lose a husband. We lost our dignity. And it began the day Robyn joined the family. Janelle Brown. She broke us from the inside. Then Janelle, cool, articulate, and bluntly honest. She testified as a woman prepared to shed decades of stifled truth. Miss Janelle Brown. The attorney began. Please tell me about your experience with Robyn Brown as a financial partner, if any. Janelle breathed deeply. There wasn't one. She wasn't ever a partner. She played a different game. Continue. I managed most of the money in the family for years. I was the planner. Robyn was the spender. She always had a need, an emergency, a project, a child needing something that Kody couldn't refuse. The rest of us adapted. She never did. Did you ever look at any records that caused concern? Yes. About a year prior to my departure, I looked over a group family account and saw several large transfers highlighted under wellness development. I thought it was Meri's initiative, but the recipients, they were contractors. Robyn had contracted flooring, lighting designers, spa supplies, all at her residence. Gasps reverberated around the gallery. The lawyer nodded. You think Robyn deceived Meri? Janelle replied, without hesitation. I know she did. I've seen the transactions. I took them to Kody. You know what he told me. She hesitated. He said, Robyn needed it more. Another swell of whispers. Janelle's voice grew more pointed. Robyn destroyed this family from the inside. Played the long game. Made herself Kody's favorite. Stole the best of everything. While the rest of us worked, paid bills, and pretended it was love. Robyn can't take it. Emotional breakdown on the stage. Janelle took a step down. Robyn stood up suddenly. This is not fair. She shrieked, her voice breaking into hysteria. The judge slammed the gavel. Order! But Robyn couldn't be stopped. You guys turned on me. You left me alone with Kody. When everything went wrong. She pointed at Christine. You're just angry that he chose me. Then at Janelle, you always despised me because I loved him differently. Tears streamed down her face. The courtroom froze. Her lawyer attempted to drag her back down. Robyn, stop. Sit. But she continued on. I didn't steal anything. Kody made the decisions. I only did what he said. The judge rose. Mrs. Brown, get a hold of yourself or I will order this courtroom emptied. Robyn slunk back into her chair. Trembling hands, face collapsing into her palms. Judge's observation, and the public's verdict, once tranquil, was restored. The judge addressed the gallery. Let the record reflect. Both witnesses gave consistent testimony, substantiated by financial records. Their character statements will not determine the outcome of the case, but their honesty is persuasive. Outside, the media flared to life again. Christine and Janelle just incinerated Robyn on the witness stand. There's no recovering from that. Robyn's breakdown is proof. She's losing it. Where's Kody? He's quiet again. Inside, Meri sat back in her chair. Set jaw. This wasn't about the money anymore. It was about being heard at last. Court adjourned. Kody Brown testifies tomorrow. The judge stated Kody Brown's testimony would start at 9 o'clock the next morning. The courtroom slowly emptied. Robyn sat frozen, exhausted, unable to stand up. Christine and Janelle departed together, heads held high, not smiling, but free. The storm had broken, but the eye of it was approaching, and Kody Brown would walk straight into it next. The next morning, clouds rolled in over Flagstaff like bruises on the sky. Heavy, ominous. A storm mirroring the tension inside the courthouse. News vans circled the building like vultures. Reporters screamed questions. Fans camped on sidewalks with handmade signs. Team Meri, Robyn lied. Where's Kody? But inside the courthouse, everything was still, until the doors opened. Kody Brown entered the courtroom, wearing no sunglasses, and no shouting. Just a stern scowl drawn across his jaw. His trademark curls were disheveled, unstyled, unkempt, and the assured swagger fans had come to expect from sister wives was nowhere to be seen. This was not TV Kody. This was a man subpoenaed. A man pulled into the very chaos he once dictated. Robyn glanced up as he came in, eyes widening in relief and confusion. He did not glance at her. Once, she reached for him unobtrusively as he passed. He did not halt. The judge addresses the court. The judge struck the gavel 3 times. We are now in session. The defendant, Robyn Brown, may proceed with her last testimony prior to cross-examination. Afterward, we will hear sworn testimony from Mr. Kody Brown. Every eye was on Robyn. She rose slowly, unsteadily, and made her way to the stand. Her hair was tucked back, her makeup applied minimally. The glamour was gone. In its place was the most exposed Robyn the world had ever known. The clerk of the court opened the Bible. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Robyn's voice was barely audible. Yes. She sat, gripped the microphone with shaking hands, and drew a long breath. Robyn breaks down. Publicly, painfully, Your Honor. She started, voice cracking right away. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I loved them. All of them. She glanced at the jury, then at Meri, who glared back, unblinking and silent. When I entered the family, I really believed in sisterhood. I believed in the philosophy. I wasn't attempting to steal a man or play games. Her eyes overflowed, and she didn't dry them. This time she allowed the tears to fall. But it wasn't simple. I entered a family with 20 years of history. There were alliances, unspoken tensions. Sometimes I didn't even know where I belonged. She gasped for breath. The courtroom fell silent. Kody and I became close. Yes, but not by design. He needed me. He said I was his calm, his anchor. And I thought that if I stood behind him, we'd all triumph. I didn't know I was making the others feel abandoned. She sniffled and her voice became urgent. I didn't realize what he was doing behind closed doors. I didn't realize he was closing them out emotionally. And by the time I figured it out, it was too late. Everybody thought I was the bad guy. Robyn faced Meri. Meri, I apologize. I thought we were creating something together. I really believed the money was part of the family pool. I never did anything from you on purpose. Meri remained impassive. Robyn's voice started to rise. And Christine, Janelle, you make it seem like I plotted the whole thing, but you've got to understand. You know how Kody was. You know he made decisions. You saw the way he treated all of us. I couldn't refuse him. None of us could. Her voice broke. I was getting by, like you were. She leaned forward, collapsing into heavy sobs. Not TV tears, not manipulative sniffles. This was collapse. The judge permitted a recess. An entire minute lapsed while Robyn hid her face in her hands. No one budged. Not the jury, not the audience, not even Kody. Kody takes the stand. Cold and calculated Mr. Kody Brown, come forward to the stand. The silence broke like glass. Kody stood up, buttoned his coat, and proceeded to the witness chair emotionlessly. As he seated himself, he didn't look at anyone. Not Meri, not Christine, not even Robyn. The clerk read it to him. I do, he replied flatly. The lawyer moved forward. Mr. Brown, did you approve of any of the financial transactions from Meri Brown to Robyn Brown? Kody shrugged. Depends on what you mean by approve. Straight question, sir. Kody let out a sigh. Irked. Meri was mentally unstable at the time. Robyn volunteered to help arrange her plans. I told Robyn to handle it. That's it. Gas. So you concede that you instructed Robyn to use Meri's funds? No. I instructed Robyn to assist Meri. If Meri gave her cash, that was between them. Robyn vehemently shook her head, whispering, that's not what you said. The lawyer continued. Mr. Brown, did you know Robyn was spending business development money that was designated to improve her own home? Kody's eyebrow furrowed. I knew she did some improvements. I didn't think anything of it. She's my only wife that I'm technically married to. Christine let out a loud breath of incredulity. Janelle muttered something under her breath. Meri gazed at the floor. So you preferred Robyn to the other wives? I preferred stability. Kody bristled. And Robyn provided that. Christine walked out. Janelle walked out. Meri checked out emotionally. Years ago, Robyn remained. Obviously I supported her. Even on other people's money. Kody paused. That's not the way I looked at it. How did you look at it, Mr. Brown? His expression firmed. Survival. We were being attacked. By the public, the media, even family. Robyn was the only one still holding out for me. I made choices to keep us afloat, at others' expense. Kody leaned forward. The others had their choices. They didn't want to be part of the family. Don't fault me for what they left behind. Robyn breaks again. Kody's coldness is too much. The moment Kody resigned, Robyn stood, shaking, angry, panicked. You said it was for us. She shouted across the courtroom. You said to me that Meri didn't count anymore. You said she'd never get her life together. Kody said nothing. He simply walked back to his chair, ignoring her altogether. Don't do this, she whispered. Don't leave me now. He sat down, crossed his arms, and looked straight ahead. Robyn faced the judge. Your Honor, please. I have to say something else. The judge raised his hand. Mrs. Brown, you'll have closing statement opportunity. Robyn leaned back in her chair, crying again. But the courtroom had grown cold. This wasn't her stage anymore. The judge prepares the jury. Truth versus loyalty. The judge spoke to the jury. You've heard emotional testimony. You've heard financial documents. You've observed the dynamic between these people. What you have to determine is whether Robyn Brown fraudulently accepted and used funds of Meri Brown's, and if Kody Brown's influence negates her culpability. He stopped. This is not a trial on divorce, family preference, or spiritual marriage. This is about money trust, and the betrayal of that trust. The courtroom recessed. End of section. The silence before the verdict. Robyn didn't say another word. She didn't glance at Kody, and he never so much as glanced in her direction. The courtroom slowly cleared out. Meri strode out tall. Christine and Janelle trailed behind, heads held high.
Robyn remained in the seat until the bailiff softly murmured, "Ma'am, time." But it wasn't truly time. The true time would be tomorrow. When the verdict was read, would Robyn be held responsible? Or would Kody's darkness guard her one final time? Only the jury had any idea. And they were already deliberating. The courtroom was silent. The jury had been out 5 hours. And no one had budged. Every nook of the courthouse was filled with quiet chatter. Journalists typing out tweets. And nervous looks toward the jury room door. Robyn Brown slumped at the defense table, folding her hands until they were crimson. Pale, lips trembling. She hadn't spoken a word since yesterday's breakdown. Not to her attorney. Not to anyone. Her makeup was washed away. Nothing was left but the naked face of a woman who teetered on the edge. On the other side of the aisle, Meri Brown sat up straight and alert, as if she'd already accepted the verdict. Win or lose. But in her eyes there was fire. She wasn't here for revenge. She was here for closure.